welcome to Florida Focus, a college football podcast. My name is Brandon, and I am a lifetime Florida State Seminole fan.
And I am Chris, and I am a shocked Florida Gator fan.
And we are putting aside our differences as rivals to bring you the fantastic world of college football throughout the Sunshine State. Today we're going to recap a Florida win in Lexington, Kentucky. Florida State falls on the road to Virginia, and we're going to whip around the state to see how everyone else fared. But Chris is always going to let you go first. Man, it was quite a week, and Florida manages a win, but at a devastating cost.
Yeah, shocked for multiple reasons. Shocked just Frank's, we'll get into him a little bit later, and his injury. It just shocked that we won that game. We go into Lexington, we win 21. We win 29-21. And you're watching that game and just, I don't know how we won that game. I'm back and watched it. I don't know how we won that game. Kentucky helped us. Maybe the refs helped us. The injury and helped us. I mean, I hate to say it like that. But we pulled out the victory despite looking sluggish and outmanned and outplayed for a good portion of the game. But I'll take it. I'll take it big time. And it really stinks for Franks. He's out for the year, dislocated ankle, got rolled up, and it looked pretty bad. I didn't know it was his leg right away, but I just saw his body bend backwards.
Yeah. And
I was like, oh, that's bad. And then when he was writhing in pain, I'm like, that's probably really bad. And then when they got the cast, whatever thing for the leg, I'm like, that is season-ending bad.
Yeah.
But thankfully, the Gators were able to rally around Trask at that time, and he was able to lead us to victory. So we'll start off with some of the positives and then get into areas of opportunity. But what are your thoughts on the Franks injury?
Obviously, these guys are people first and players second. So,
yeah.
Heart goes out to him. I hope he gets well. I think the initial report was he's going to be out 6 months, and just take your time in rehab and be there for your team. And the team needs to be there for him.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting concept because it's easily forgotten that last season, halfway through the year, we weren't even sure Franks would be the guy, and he was getting booed and he got benched. Trask came in, took over, and the fans loved it. But the following week, Trask had an injury in practice, and that kind of settled the debate there. But now we're back at Trask, and so it's almost like it's coming full circle.
Yeah, and Mullen said a couple times in his two different press conferences that Emory Jones is going to get some get some time in there too. So I think Trask is a smart choice to go with. I personally would like to see Emory Jones. I think he adds more of the running ability. But Trask is the obvious smarter choice, the safer choice, because he has that experience, And we see here he proved that he can win. The things that we did good was that we got it worked on the line, especially on defense. Not much pressure, but we rallied, and the fourth quarter they didn't score any points, especially when they needed to score points. They didn't score points. And we scored. I think we ended up outscoring them 19 to nothing in the fourth quarter, which was great. And you see that happened with Miami too. When we needed to rally and win and make big plays, we did. And that's something that just did not see with McElwain that you're seeing with Mullen. Is those games that we probably shouldn't win, we're starting to now, and I've learned to not panic as much. I remember watching the game, and when we were down 11, I usually was at the point where like, okay, game over. Like, why even continue? But now it's like, you know what? I've seen this team before. I've seen this Mullen team before. Let's see how it plays out, and it was good for us. And I think what Trask did real well is that our strength is our wide receivers, and just get the ball to them. Just get the ball to the receivers, and he did that. And you can't say enough about how everybody, once he got in, or once Franks went down, and Trask got in, that first drive where he went down and they got that touchdown, everybody was playing different. Everybody's playing different. Things I did like, I like Sean Davis in the backfield. He had 2 picks, almost took one to the house. He's been stepping up real well. I think he got his first start last week at home. And he's been stepping up in the secondary for us. So those are kind of like the only bright spots because there's a lot to work on. What are your thoughts on the bright spots?
Yeah, so, you see the turnovers won by Florida, so that's always a good thing. You saw Franks run for a first down that led into a Swain touchdown. That's always good. You saw Trask's confidence. You see Hammond, is that who it was, for the win?
Yeah.
That's what I said. It's in my notes here. And the touchdown that Trask did with that pitch back was just beautiful. And that's great to see. But I think it's really, I can't really repeat what you said because I'd be overdoing it. Just the continued confidence. It seemed like last year Kentucky finally broke that streak of we have leads, we're comfortable against Florida, and we can actually win. It seems like they reverted right back to what they used to do for the last 20 years. And this is a game they should have won. And you see where Florida just had the confidence to know we can still do this, and they did.
Yeah, and it seemed almost like it was playing out the same way last year did too, except we pulled it out there. And we are very fortunate. Like I said, Kentucky missing that field goal was huge. Getting a late targeting call by their D tackle on Trask. I mean, technically he did. I don't think he did it like maliciously or with intent to hurt. When he hit his helmet into Trask, but I mean, technically it is. So it's just a weird thing, targeting. I'm still not sure. No one really knows what is targeting.
You're correct.
But we'll take it. we'll take it. So we got some help there. Things that we could work on the offensive side of the ball. We got to figure out a running game. We have to figure out our running game. Ryan is doing okay, catching the ball in the backfield, but we're getting no push. Don't know what Malik Davis is doing. I do like when Dameon Pierce does come in. He seems a bit more decisive and is running downhill, but we're not getting a push on the line. So you're having to see the quarterbacks run. Hammond ran in on that last one to seal the game, which, let's go back a little bit. That was a good play call, a great play call. Put that in the positives. That part of the game, no one's expecting that jet sweep.
Yep.
What a great call. And just put it into your playmaker's hands. So we got to figure out some way to get some kind of push in the run game. O-line is doing okay as far as pass blocking, but the run game, we got to get that shored up there. Defensively, we had 1 sack, and we're not used to just one.
Right.
And that 1 sack was a blown coverage. Like, they just did not block Grenard coming off the end there. So their O-line was the best O-line that we faced to this point, and they were better than us. We've had some injuries. Zuniga going down the first play of the game, the ankle injury, really hurt us with a pass rush. And Marco Wilson just getting outworked by bigger physical receivers, and Brad Stewart there too. Our corners are pretty good, and our safeties are decent, but you get a big receiver, and this is how it's been for a while with the Gators. The big receivers just, we can't handle them, and we got to figure out how to do that. And Marco Wilson seems like he's just a bit rusty coming from that injury from last year, and just hasn't been the same. And not having Henderson, and it's becoming a concern. If you take away that pass rush, that secondary is starting to become a point of concern, especially if you have a big receiver or a tight end. That's another thing that really bugs me. Our linebackers cannot cover tight ends. Our linebackers are great stopping the run. Okay. Absolutely great rushing the quarterback. But you get a tight end, we are not athletic enough in the linebacker position to cover them. So I think if you have a good tight end, that's where you're going to have to go and beat the Gators too. Because Reese is great stopping. Miller is great stopping the run. But you throw a tight end to the flat, forget it. We can't cover them. So I don't know if we have to put a nickel on them or switch up the defense somewhat, but those things are really bugging me during the game. And we saw this with Miami too. We come out, we go down, we score a touchdown, we go early, and then we get another turnover, and it just derails us. We just don't know what to do. And they get the momentum, and then finally that spark with Trask coming in really helped us. But we got to figure out a way of when we get an early turnover to not let it mess with us and continue, because we have a good offense when we're rolling. But for some reason, when we get down or something happens to us, it takes us a quarter or two to shake it off, and that's something we have to stop doing.
Okay, that's an interesting observation. And I'm assuming you're referring to that early interception that Franks threw that didn't make a lot of sense, should have been a throwaway, but he tries to force a touchdown there. But just some other things that I noticed that Florida could probably work on. There's the UK's passing game on top of maybe some good runs here and there. Just seem to be on point with a backup, and maybe some you're not prepared for this guy because this is, their starter for the season's out. But still, I think with Florida's secondary, which I've always been jealous of, that should be something to just catch Grantham's attention. And the only thing I've really questioned in this game was the play calling on Mullen. I just don't like the idea of chasing points. So when you score, you go down 21-16. I don't like going for two.
Yeah.
And that's just probably a personal preference because you do the math. Yeah, you're down by 3, a field goal, but then you scored to go ahead, then you have to go for 2 again, and neither successful. So that's just 2 points left on the field. Plus, the play call was really just weird, and Trask almost threw like an interception that would have gone the whole other way. So that would have swung the game in Kentucky's favor, and they probably would have won had they returned that. So that to me was really lucky break, which Florida seems to always get in this matchup.
Yeah, no joke. We do. And I'm always a big fan of the 2-point conversion where you roll the quarterback out to a strong hand and have some options. I think, I forgot. I think Brett Favre was famous for this play where they call it sprint right option. No, John Gruden. That's right, John Gruden. He always like sprint right option, where whether it was either a goal line play or a 2-point conversion, where your quarterback, who typically was right-handed, would roll out to his right, and you have like 2 or 3 guys, different levels, running to the right.
Yep.
So you have different options. I love something like that. The fact that he just stands there and throws it, or in the second 2-point conversion, quarterback draw, I'm not a fan. I would like those plays, the quarterback to move. I mean, we can talk about it a little bit later with Virginia. You saw what he did, move around and have some opportunities, especially in the 2-point situations. So yeah, there's some questionable stuff. There was like a 3rd and like 12 where we throw a screen that didn't go anywhere. I do not like screen passes on 3rd downs. Sometimes they work and they're great, but I'm not a fan personally. So that sometimes the play call was iffy, but then you see, that run with Hammond. That's a great play call. So you see what he can do. And Mullen was saying in his press conference, if Hammond just falls down, game is over. We don't have to worry about multiple timeouts and Hail Mary situations.
Right.
But, I mean, if you're a 20-year-old kid, when your whole life you've been taught to get the ball and score, it's real hard to tell them not to.
Right.
So I get it. I totally get it. But yeah. There were some bright spots, and I'm still just kind of in shock. One of them, I forgot to mention, David Reese had 16 total tackles.
Wow.
Which is really good. 13 of them were solo. So, like I said, he was pivotal. He was crucial. And it was like a 4th down stop right up the middle. He's great at stopping the run, just not so much coverage. So, but I do like that he's the leader of our D for sure, and that he is playing top notch for us. But like I said, I'm really shocked that we won, but I shouldn't be, because that's how these Kentucky games usually go. But hey, balance is restored. We are now starting a new streak, hopefully 30 plus more against Kentucky.
All right. So yes, Gators are victorious by 8 on the road. So any final thoughts before we move on to Florida State?
No. We're good. Just still trying to figure out what I just watched and start to look at some tape of Trask and see what kind of quarterback we have with him. And he reminds me his throwing motion. I'm not saying he is as good as this guy. Just throwing a disclaimer out there. I'm just saying his mechanics remind me a little bit of Rex Grossman.
Oh.
I was looking at some film where he was throwing like falling back or off balance, but the pass was right there. Like the arm strength of Grossman kind of reminds me of his mechanics. Kind of reminds me of Grossman. Now again, I'm not saying that he's going to finish second in the Heisman voting where he should win. I'm not saying he's going to be that good, but he just reminds me of that Rex Grossman gunslinger confidence. So I like that. And like I said, Emory Jones is a guy that hasn't played much, but he can throw it, and he adds that wrinkle of running it. So I'm interested to see how much they're going to throw him in if they have packages for him as well.
Okay. All right. So that'll be something that Tennessee is trying to plan for Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. So that'll wrap up the Florida game. So we'll move on to Florida State. They travel to Virginia. They suffer a 7-point loss. Let me start off by saying that I'm actually really not that upset with this loss. I also want to start off by saying that I am not the usual Florida State fan.
Yeah.
And I understand that most people are going to overreact on this. However, I think that if you're tapering expectations and looking at milestones to create, this is a very good game for us to look at. So let me start with the positives, as I always do. Right now, we actually have a walk-on punter who's taking the place of our usual punter who's been there for a while. He's dealing with a suspension currently, so we don't know when he'll be back. So the fact that the kicking game, especially punting, has not skipped a beat is a huge plus for Florida State. I did like for the first most of the game, 3/4-ish, how the defense handled it. Like Asante Samuel Jr. getting a pick on the first drive, that's huge. He made a great turn on that play and made an adjustment. It was way behind the receiver, and even he didn't have any business catching it, and he just made the play, so good for him. Tamarian Terry was targeted a lot early. He's not nearly the big play guy as of yet we were expecting from last year, but he is getting a lot of targets. Mm-hmm. So he's drawing a lot of attention from the secondary. Neighbors, our backup tight end, gets another touchdown in this game, which is really Blackman was giving. He was taking what the defense was giving him, and the tight ends over the middle were open pretty much all night. We do get 2 sacks on Bryce Perkins, who is probably the second best quarterback in the ACC, behind a guy named Trevor Lawrence. And he's just the essence of dual threat. Sometimes you say, like, a dual threat guy, dual threat. He truly is. He's almost exactly even in what he does. And he's just almost impossible to bring down. And we got 2 sacks on this guy, so that's definitely a plus. And we did get Goodacres in this game. He was reliable on the ground. He did catch a touchdown, which he kind of bobbled but reeled in and then kind of laughed about. So, good on him. Also, with the tight end position, I kind of saw this when I was rewatching the game. A lot of good blocking. Wide receivers, not so much in this one. There were a couple of gaps I'll talk about in a second. Yeah. But even when they weren't catching a pass, they were helping out with the offensive line. They were creating time for Blackman, and it really showed. So good on us to hide some of the deficiencies on the O-line. Another way you do that is tempo, and we push tempo on that. It's clear that once you get in 3rd and long, that kind of stuff starts to show its ugly head pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But they did a good job of covering up some of the weaknesses. Another thing, I forgot to mention this with the kicking game, a 53-yard field goal by Aguayo. I think that might have been a career long or pretty close. So, maybe he's back in good form this year as well. And our opponent missed another point after touchdown. Was just funny. I don't know if that's a positive. It's just a funny observation. Yeah. And even though we weren't able to score in the last drive, good for us to take advantage of the penalties to at least get down to the 3. So, anyway, I'll let you weigh in on the positives, and I'll get to some of the opportunities.
Yeah, I was definitely gonna say Aguayo's 53-yarder was crucial, because I know his career's been up and down a little bit. not as consistent, but 53 is clutch on the road. Not too bad. And I think it was 8 different receivers caught a catch. That's really good to spread the ball out like that.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to look forward to. You can sell it on recruiting. You can sell it on many things. Hey, we're going to it's tough to defend if you're going to spread it out like that. Blackman, 3 touchdowns is pretty good. And like you said, last week we had great Akers. This week we have good Akers.
Yep.
So you can definitely see the potential on offense, and picking off Perkins twice on defense is really good too.
Yeah, I think that second pick was like a long pass right before halftime, but I'll take it still.
Yeah.
But
they get a touchdown, so
exactly, and the receiver didn't catch it, so
yep, I'll take it.
Yeah, yep. All right, so actually, I'm going to throw in a quote here from quarterback Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
I think it was in 2016. He was asked about the offense and a slow start to the season, and they said, "What was your response?" And he simply said this: "RELAX, relax."
Yeah.
So that's what I implore you, Florida State fans, please relax. Okay, coming in, and if you listen to us, you should have known this was going to be a loss. Yes, there were plenty of opportunities, and yes, it was close. But we played well, and Virginia was a better team.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been this close.
Right.
Really, it shouldn't have been.
Covered the spread. I mean, that's not where you want to be with FSU. Like, hey, we didn't lose by 10. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying where we are right now, managing expectations, this is a good victory. If nothing else, but in the locker room and on the moral side. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, it's not it's a game that a lot of people have just written them off, especially the last 2 weeks, But the fact that they were competing and had a potential chance to tie at the end there, that's a bright spot for sure.
Yeah. So, with that, here are the ways that Florida State should have won this game. So yeah, the opportunities for Florida State here, you do score early, but you don't have enough points second half. You do have some, so that's good, but only 10 and 14 in the first half. So they did listen to me there. They did save some offense for the second half, third and fourth quarters. But we get a turnover and we only get 1 first down off of that, and we have to punt. I mentioned the third and longs. That just can't happen with this offensive line. So we need to continue to get yardage. And to their defense, Neighbors is our backup running back. He does have, 4-ish carries a game, which kind of adds a wrinkle in the rushing attack and also serves to give Cam Akers a break. But let's try and get some more guys involved. This is Florida State, after all. We should have the skills to do it. There was a play where Cooper, number 91, does get all the way through the line. Should have been a sack on Perkins, and he just walks right past him. I mean, that should have been sack number 3 on the day. I'm not sure what happened there. I think I'm pronouncing the running back for Virginia.
Good luck.
Tuilapapa. Let's
Sounds
go with
good
that.
to me.
He kind of reminds me of, at least the way they used him, of Devin Singletary of FAU last year. It's like he's going to get 56 rushing yards but 3 touchdowns, and that's pretty much what he had. He was just their red zone guy. I guess they're trying to give Perkins a break when they get down in there, taking less hits. Either way, it worked. So need to stop him. We didn't. You were kind of mentioning the Florida Gators, like there can be a turnover that kind of swings the game. I feel like there are some points like that for Florida State. And for me in this one, we're up 17-10 in the third quarter. Virginia has a 4th and 2, and we don't stop them. And Perkins make an effort play to push through, even though he's stopped initially. And that, to me, was kind of the beginning of the end right there. They go on to score. Mm-hmm. We score quickly, but then they score twice more. And we could not get in the end zone to end the game. But the last 2 drives, it was just penalty. And this is stuff, again, back to this is easily coachable, something you can easily take care of. I mentioned Cooper got through the line and didn't sack Perkins. Well, he committed a personal foul later. By the way, the next 4 penalties I'm going to talk about were on the same drive, Chris. A personal foul. Our linebacker Jackson was called for holding, automatic first. we grab a face mask in the red zone. That's another personal foul. And then right after they score a touchdown on that same drive, Wilson gets mad and shoves a guy. So these aren't things that should be happening. I say that, but then if we're like a number 5 team in the nation and we're just dominating people, these are good signs to have. Extra penalties. I know that sounds weird to say, but it's kind of true. It means you're playing with a hot motor and you're just good enough you can play through those. Well, Florida State's not that good. So these kind of things will just kill a drive, and they will kill you on the end of a game, and that's one of the reasons why we lost. Blackman has some throws. I honestly think 2 throws that cost us the game. There was a 3rd down conversion after that Virginia touchdown. Trey McKitty was wide open. He just threw it right at his ankles. McKitty couldn't cover. And then on the last drive, Tamar and Terry streaking wide open down the right line, and he overthrows him. So I couldn't believe that. And that was all after the 2-point conversion where Perkins literally danced in the end zone after avoiding pressure for about 13 seconds, it felt like. So there are definitely some things that he can clean up, but overall, I don't think that you should walk away from this upset, and you played really well against a really good team. So you should be proud of him. Let me go ahead and address your question, Chris. I know you're going to ask. How did I feel about the last play of the game and the timing issue?
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to ask that. So.
I'm not going to spend too much time dwelling on it. Yeah, there was a mistake. Yeah, this is the ACC. Yeah, it happens. But, if you look at it from another perspective, we didn't give the defense time to come out and get set. So, it's not a terrible thing that you come out and run a play. I'm personally of the camp that you need to spike the ball, but I guess I looked up the rules here, or somebody else did. If the clock runs under 3 seconds, which it did, and it was after a first down, you can't clock it. So they didn't have a choice.
Okay.
But looking at it, I think they should have stopped it with 7 or 6 seconds left, which would have given us time to do so.
Okay. Gotcha.
We didn't have any timeouts, obviously, so who's to know? I think, unfortunately, the bigger thing out of this is that a key play in the game, I would have loved to have seen the play call there. What exactly was Akers going to do? He took the direct snap. He rolls out. Was he going to throw it? McKitty was kind of open. He decided to try and run it instead, and he stopped at 2. Florida State fans they've been blowing up Twitter and social media about this. They're like, we lost the same way to Virginia back in '95. Okay, yeah. For some reason, this team just gets us for no reason, or whatever. But it is what it is. Even if we were to score and sneak out and win in overtime, to quote Dan Mullen from last year, the problems still exist.
Yeah. There's a lot in the problems I was going to talk about. You addressed already, but I do want to mention this. How about Virginia? They're at home. They're ranked. Florida State is not. Florida State is definitely not the team that they were in the past. And you storm the field? How do you feel about that? I'm like, come on. I get it that the name Florida State is huge, but realistically, they're not, who they all used to be. You're the team that should win. You're ranked, and you storm the field. I'm like, I don't know about this, guys. Maybe a little bit desperate there.
Desperate's exactly the word I was going to use. We talked about this last year where they threw a parade for the 10-year anniversary of beating us in '95, and they beat us in '05 that same week. It feels like UCF claiming the 2017 national title. That's exactly how it feels. You're like, what? No one really thinks that's true. No one really cares. You want to put it up there? Sure. Why don't you just start making banners, Virginia, while you're at it? Beat Florida State these 3 times. They beat us at home in 2011, too. You want to put that up there, too? Go ahead.
If you're the underdog, maybe. And that's a maybe. But you're definitely not the underdog. Florida State is not coming off a national championship. I just don't understand why they did that. Spurrier always to say, act like you've been there before. You know, I don't know. It's just weird to me.
It is, and I get it, and that's actually kind of a compliment to us and the program success we've had. But at the same time, you were favored by, I don't know what it was, over a touchdown at this point. You're ranked. Looking at their schedule, this Virginia team is very different now. And I picked them preseason to win the Coastal, and they may do it with 9 wins. We'll see. But yeah, I understand this is your biggest game and you love to beat us, but that's just kind of silly. Also, I was really wondering, like, did the last play end, and are they going to have to clear the field and run this play again? I was really kind of curious. I was like, let me at least see the replay, and after that, I was satisfied. I said, okay, guys, need definitely hit the ground, so it was over. But that would just been funny. You rushed the field just like LSU did last year against Texas A&M, and then game's not over.
Come all the way back. Yeah, I mean, initially it didn't look like he was down, but yeah, upon review it definitely was. But I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh, he wasn't down.
Right.
But,
so, obviously, I don't like to lose. I'm not saying this is okay, but I'm saying I'm very pleased with the performance. And enough with this nonsense, Florida State, where you want Taggart out. I just don't want to entertain this conversation anymore. He's here. He deserves to stay 3 years, and he's going to. So, get used to it now. No more of these stories about 4-year-olds selling lemonade to buy out his contract. This is ridiculous. You're going to enjoy this season much more if you expect 4 or 5 losses, which is what we've been saying all along. We're 1-2. This is kind of on course. The wins are coming, and there's going to be some more losses along the way. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, Florida State fans need to be patient and realistic. Yep. Patient and realistic. It's coming from someone who's been through this pretty recently. Patient and realistic.
Yep, couldn't agree more. So, any final thoughts, though, on the...
No.
All right. I feel like that pretty much surmises the game on my end, too. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So, moving along to Miami. They get a home victory versus Bethune-Cookman.
Yep.
63-0. It really wasn't a contest. This is what you expect the score to look like. And it was... Williams goes for 250 and 3 touchdowns. N'Kosi Perry got some time in. He scored a touchdown as well. Tate Martell, still not a quarterback. So, and what gets me is he had 1 rush for 3 yards, and that's it. Like, I would expect them to at least, hey, you come all the way down here, we're going to play you in these games. But I don't get it. Don't know what's going on with if it's him, if it's the coaching staff, or what, but something's not right there. But DJ Dallas, he had a career high 3 touchdowns and went over 100 yards. So it's kind of not much else to say. They did what they should have done. They beat a team by a lot that they should have beat by a lot. So yeah.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, the N'Kosi Perry sighting. Bethune-Cookman only gets 4 first downs. And everything as you expected. Harris got a lot. He got 10 carries. Dallas got 12. And gotta love Manny Diaz's quote. I prefer winning over losing. It's more fun.
Yeah.
So, good job, Coach. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I don't have anything else to add on that game.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump over to the UCF Knights real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And... wow, they thumped Stanford. No other way to put it. They dominated this game. Dylan Gabriel gets the start. He goes 22 of 30, 247 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and distributed the ball. I mean, so many weapons. They passed more in this game than they rushed, which is not always the case. But with Gabriel, that's what they're going to do. They're going to air it out. And, I mean, this game is over soon. I mean, you're talking about it was up 21-0, I think, and then by halftime it was 28-7. Stanford does get a touchdown, I think, in the second quarter or late first. But the first quarter just lasted forever because there was so much scoring.
Yeah.
And, it was off of defense. The UCF Knights picked off a ball and it ran it down to the 1. So, one of those touchdowns really was on the defense, but the offense punched in. And... man, this changes has to change your perspective on the Knights. They took a team, I would say Stanford's probably 4th best team in the Pac-12-ish, and they handled them. They're in the they put up their backups in the 4th quarter. This is not a team to just push over anymore. I think everyone's starting to realize that. But there was one late touchdown scored. Quadri Jones, the 2nd string, 3rd string, whatever the depth chart they want to give you. He did have a fumble that kind of got bumped around with 2 minutes left. Stanford ran it in, so technically Stanford scored 27, but in reality they only scored like 17 meaningful points in this game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
545 yards of offense, and the Knights just continue to roll. Speaking of the quarterback depth, to answer your another question, Chris, I don't know who their starting quarterback's going to be. Heupel's been mum about this, and there's always still the chance. I don't know why you would do this, but you still could redshirt Dylan Gabriel if you want. He's only played 3 games.
Oh wow!
I think it's pretty clear though that Brandon Wimbush probably won't play much the rest of the year. Daryl Mack's been cleared from his ankle injury. You've got Quadri Jones. Yeah, it's an embarrassment of riches there, and he can do whatever he wants. So, who knows? I think probably the best decision is to go with Gabriel the rest of the year because it's exciting offense. They're going to air it out. Matt comes in. He's a runner, so he's kind of the Wimbush style. Mm-hmm. But it just depends on whether he wants to keep the red shirt or not. I think what you're going to see is, and Saban kind of did this last year, he doesn't want guys to transfer out, so he's playing him as much as he can.
Right.
But he doesn't have to worry about that with Wimbush. He can't go anywhere. This is his last year anyway. So you don't have to appeal to him. You don't have to make him happy. Right. Doesn't matter. So, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, it was over so quick. Just like the FAU game the week before you even get into the stands, the game's over. And the Knights are looking scary good, especially offensively. They don't look like they're missing a beat there. And Stanford's no slouch. I know they're not as good as maybe we thought they were going into the season, but they're still big name.
Sure.
And for UCF to just not even mess around with them, just stomp them early and often.
Yep.
It's just it's an eye opener for you for sure. And that offense, they got some speed everywhere, and a plethora of talent in the backfield and on the what's that? Tell me the guy's name, the receiver's name, number 87. Keep forgetting his name.
Well, I know Gabe Davis is probably their best one.
Yeah.
So you're probably referring to him. And if he continues to have the year like he has, he's going to go to the NFL next year.
Yeah, he's looks like, I remember asking you, like, is that a tight end or is that a receiver?
Yeah.
And no, that's a receiver.
Yeah.
So he's a matchup nightmare.
They continue to roll. They continue a streak of 29 games where they score 30 points. That doesn't look like an end in sight. I said 10-2 to start the year. I struggle to see what 2 games they're going to lose. I just don't know that they will.
Every team has that 1 or 2 games where you don't show. So they're going to have it. They're going to have that game.
Yep.
But where will it be? Will it be on the road? Will they survive it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in the past it's been Memphis, but they don't play them in the regular season this year, so
right.
We'll see. Yeah, there's always 1 or 2, but I thought Stanford would be one of those. I'm eating crow now. Anyway, no more thoughts from me on the Knights.
All right. Then we'll go to FAU. They travel to Ball State and they get the victory 41-31. It's a game where I'm surprised that they rallied like this and got the victory. They went down early first quarter 7-14, and then they pretty much controlled it there. Ball State kind of went back and forth a little bit to threaten to do anything, but the Owls hold them off at the end there, win by 10. Robinson goes for 366 and 4 touchdowns. Solid game from him. And what a way to respond to just getting stomped the week earlier and then going on the road and getting a key victory.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot to like about this. Robinson returns to form, 33 completed passes, 4 TDs. FAU did lose 2 fumbles, but did recover 3. So,
yeah,
they netted +1 on the fumble front. I don't know about the interceptions, but I think the biggest thing that FAU can take out of this game is that they might have actually found their running back for the year. McCammon does 25 carries for 99 yards and a touchdown, and before last week even, they weren't even sure who that would be. So it's good to help kind of clarify your depth chart there. Plus Mitchell, receiver, 8 catches, 124 yards, 3 touchdowns. If only they could play Ball State every week, right? That guy really went off.
For real. I mean, it's taken them 3 games to find their guys on offense, but looks like they have. So
Yeah.
good for them.
Yeah, they recover with the win there. All right. Just like Miami, the South Florida Bulls do play a lesser opponent and do get a victory. They beat South Carolina State 55-16. Their 8-game losing streak finally comes to an end. So something to celebrate there in Tampa. Also, you can celebrate the fact that Charlie Strong has made some changes on his offense. So McLeod actually gets the start here over Barnett. And McLeod has 5 total touchdowns. If I had asked you 8 games ago who the leading rusher of the Bulls would be, you'd probably say Cronkite. That's no question. Right. Now it's Joyner. Cronkite barely even played a factor into this game. And South Carolina State was surprisingly efficient, moved the ball a lot, but 8 turnovers kind of did them in.
Yeah, it's hard to win with 8 turnovers.
That's the most I've seen in a long time, by the way. It's hard to do that.
Yeah. You're not gonna be.
That is frustrating, but
yeah,
comfortable win for the Bulls. So something to celebrate for now. We'll see if they can build off of it.
Yeah, good for Charlie. All right, and we have last and not least FIU hosting New Hampshire, get the victory 30-17, and this game really was kind of closer than it should have been.
Yeah.
Late to the game there. But they pull it out, and I don't know, like, they're kind of shocking me. FIU I thought they were going in the right direction, but this season so far, they do not look good, to be honest. They just don't. It's good to get the win. It really is, especially with you have Wiggins going for on the ground for 187 and 2 touchdowns, and so there's bright spots, over 300 yards rushing total, which is really good. But you shouldn't be this close to New Hampshire. Like, you really should.
No, it was, New Hampshire actually had a 17-13 lead in the third quarter after an 86-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
So in the second half, to be like that low scoring and that close, you're right. You shouldn't be there. The Panthers only forced 1 turnover, and they got outpassed by New Hampshire. And I think the bright spot, of course, you're right, Wiggins, who starts in lieu of James Morgan, who probably still off an ankle, but also just not performing well anyway. But Wiggins does set a school record, 187 rushing yards. So maybe that's the idea for the offense going forward, but to only win 30-17, it is kind of concerning.
Yeah. I think the play of the game, I would say, would mid-fourth, they're only up, by 3, and they get a punt return. And I don't know who the returner was, but he takes it, he runs it all the way down, and he's getting tackled at the 10-yard line, and he pitches it to a linebacker. Well, yeah, and he runs in for a touchdown, and that propels him for the victory there. But ended up getting a late field goal. But they needed that play to seal the deal with New Hampshire. That's not a good sign.
No, it's not. And they're underperforming, and man, I'm going to be off on my wins total for this team this year. I really think they're going to struggle. And the signs are not good now, so.
No,
but you get the win here, so at least there's that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. All right. Well, any final thoughts on any of these teams, Chris?
No. Interesting games, some fun games overall, but looking forward to the next week.
Yeah, me too. So, so that finishes week 3 then for us. A short peek into week 4. Normally, this is where we will do a preview of the Florida Gator game. As this year they host the Tennessee Volunteers. However, we have actually devoted an entire episode to this game preview, which you will be able to listen to in the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that and a very, very special guest.
I'll do a quick synopsis of it, but more detail into when we listen to that. Just we're hosting a Tennessee team that finally gets a victory, and the first 2 games aren't looking too hot. But the big story is Trask. How is he going to handle being the guy? It's easy to come in off the bench, no expectations, but now you're the guy. And like I said, Jones will get some playing time for sure. But how are we going to respond to Trask? But really, this a lot of the issues aren't just the quarterback, though. We have to figure out what we're doing with the running backs. We have to figure out what we're doing in the secondary. So if we can just not turn the ball over, I think we're okay. The spread is 14. I think it's going to be a little bit closer. We might cover the spread by the end of the game, but the way we're playing, we like to keep things close and keep my heart rate high. So I still have the Gators winning, but just a little bit closer than it should be.
Yep, and I think from Tennessee side, it's how do you manage expectations, morale. You do come off your first win of the season over an inferior opponent, but it's been a rough start. Can they get a push on the skill sets, and how exactly does Tennessee prepare for Florida now that the complexity of the game's completely changed? But I think we're in agreement that the Gators do pull it off. But stay tuned in a couple of days. We'll go into way more depth into this game and the state of the Tennessee program too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Florida State host the Louisville Cardinals. That is a game Florida State it should win. Coming off of a loss on the road, Virginia is a very good team, and you played them well. So I think that's what you have to harp on. Louisville is still trying to figure out who they are. They still have ball control issues. Let's not forget they did lose 10 games in a row until, I think, last week or the week before. So they're still trying to find out who they are. And the coaching hire was a great one, but I would say run first team that I think Florida State really should handle this. That really has been the one thing that I was hoping would be better, but maybe just the teams we played, you wouldn't see a lot of the run defense, and I think it will start to show here. But I do like the Noles still to win this game. I think you have to manage turnovers. You have to make sure Blackman has better throws. You have to get Tamarian Terry. He has a lot of targets last week, but not a lot of catches, and you need to see that increase. But Louisville's still trying to find out who they are. I really don't see a whole lot of reason Florida State should struggle in this one, simply because even if we played terribly, we still should win this game.
Yeah, Louisville, that first game against Notre Dame, even though they lost, it looked pretty good for the first half, 3 quarters. The wheels fell apart there. This is a game that FSU not only should win, they need this win. They really do. And I think it's going to be, I'm calling FSU is going to be up 17 at halftime, but only going to win by 3. Because that's what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Do great the first half, and then not so great. But I think they actually pull it out and win by, say, 3. Not just because that's what they've been doing for 3 games. Why not make it 4 games?
Yes. I mean, in this sounds cliche, but I will take a win in this one any way we can get it. And we may have to do some things to do that, but I think in the end we'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. Next we have Miami, and this is a home game versus Central Michigan. Game that they should win. They should be all right with. But a little side note, it makes this game a little bit more interesting, is Central Michigan's head coach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Jim McElwain, Gators ex-coach. But I think the Canes got some confidence with their win last week, and they should be fine this week.
Yep. And you're back at home again, and team out of the Mighty Mac just probably not going to have enough horses to run with Miami.
No.
I agree. Probably the most interesting one on this slate of games for us anyway is UCF travels to Pittsburgh. Now, you want a good quality schedule. These are your 2 games right here. One's probably going to point to by the end of the year to say, like, strength of schedule, quote unquote.
Right.
And Stanford, obviously, you have no trouble with. And last year you played Pitt at home. You win, I don't know, 44-17, something like that. But this time you go on the road, and Pitt comes off of a game against Penn State where they only lost by 7 and almost had a chance to tie or win the game in the 4th quarter. But they kind of made some weird decisions.
Yeah.
But let's just not forget, Pittsburgh is always that 7-win team that just gives really good teams trouble. And that's what UCF is a really good team. They did upset Clemson the year they won the national title with Deshaun Watson. They beat Miami to end their perfect season, I think 2 years ago. They have a propensity of doing this. They knocked off West Virginia. This is going way back. They knocked off West Virginia in 2007 to knock them out of the title game. Back when they had Pat White, or West Virginia had Pat White back in the day. So they're that program that just hangs around. So as long as UCF does what they've been doing, they're going to be fine. Weather's not going to be a problem. It's not cold. Pittsburgh is not a very skillful team. They got handled pretty much by Virginia, and I'm not sold that Penn State's a good team, and they play them close, but whatever. So I think UCF continues to win and win big.
This has the potential to be that one game or two games that they struggle, because it's classic, a decent game, a decent team that has, like I said, has the history of upsetting people and winning games they shouldn't, and it's on the road. So I wouldn't be surprised if UCF struggles for a little bit. I still think they're going to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a blowout.
Right.
Kind of early fourth quarter, they're up by like 10 in Pittsburgh's driving. Something like that.
Okay.
But I still think they're the better team, and should win this game.
Agreed.
All right, moving along. FAU hosts Wagner. They're going to get a W.
Yeah.
That's nothing much. Wagner's 0-3 on the season, and FAU looks like they found some key players on offense, so they should be fine.
Yeah, nothing to add there. Comfortable win. Get your guys some practice.
All right, we'll wrap it up here with FIU going on the road on it's like Friday night to Louisiana Tech, and you got to go Tech on this one, I guess, just because much like USF, FIU really has not excited me at all, and going on the road, and I got to go Tech on this one.
It's tough. I'm gonna differ on this one. I'm gonna take FIU. I got to stick with them. They're the team I picked to ride out and win the conference. And I think they did find something with the rushing attack. You're absolutely right though, Chris. They just don't really do much. But if their quarterback can rush like he did again, I know it's New Hampshire, I realize that, and keep time of possession and limit the other offense from being on the field, that actually is a pretty good recipe for winning on the road. So I'll take the Panthers. Yeah,
I mean, Tech's win. They're 2-1. They beat Bowling Green and Grambling, and they lost to Texas, but they played a good team in Texas. That's why I'm going to go with them because of that game.
Yeah,
and mainly because FAU really doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I will say though, Chris, this is the best chance for these 7 teams to go undefeated. So I mean, if you look at it the rest of the way, you got FAU, Wagner, Miami, Central Michigan, Florida over Tennessee. I mean, that could be crazy. FAU, La Tech, probably a coin flip. UCF, Pitt. Could be dicey, but I think UCF wins. Florida State back at home against a pretty bad Louisville team. This is the best. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I'm saying this is the best chance.
Okay.
The rest of the year.
Before the meat of all the conference play. Yeah.
Right. Everybody starts diving into their schedules, and then it's almost going to be impossible to know.
Yeah, true.
All right. Any final thoughts on anybody that's playing this weekend?
No. Just excited. I'm glad that we're in it, man. We are in college football season. I love it.
Indeed. By the time we talk next time, and this is just my personal thing, you've been in a month, then you really know who teams are.
Right.
So you're starting to see all of that take shape, and that's the most exciting part for me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm sure the strong reactions are coming, Chris. I'm sure that people will have very differing opinions than us, which is fine. We welcome all feedback. But how can our fans and community reach out to us with that feedback?
Get on your interwebs and go to FloridaFocusPodcast.com, and you will find everything you need and how to reach us. Please give us some feedback, your thoughts, how the rest of the season is going to play out. What do you think Trask is going to do? How is FSU going to rebound? So just let us hear it.
Yes. And along with that, let us know as an ongoing thing this entire season, what is your favorite in-game memory with your favorite team? Please send this in, maybe 3 to 4 minutes. Just for submitting it, you're going to be entered in for a raffle to win a very big prize, and I will announce that very soon, I promise.
It's a fridge. I'm calling it. I'm still on the fridge bandwagon.
I'm gonna burst your bubble. It is not a refrigerator.
That's what you would say if it really was a fridge and you didn't want us to think it was a fridge.
You're not wrong. I could just lie, But anyway, keep sending that in. Also, if you're inclined to give feedback in the form of a review, iTunes or your favorite podcast player choice, that will be accepted as well. Real quickly before we sign off for the night, we have, as we alluded to earlier, a very special episode coming to you later this week. We actually have a writer from the Associated Press that was kind enough to do an interview to talk about the Tennessee Volunteers. So stay tuned, probably Thursday. That'll be available, and we appreciate that in advance. And thank you to Steve for his time.
Yeah. It was a fun interview. A lot of insight, and it's a special treat for not only us, but I think the listeners as well.
Absolutely. I mean, especially because he's covered Tennessee for so long. It was a real delight to kind of pick his brain there, and really appreciate that. Mm-hmm. So, all right. Anything else before we sign off, Chris?
No, that is it for me, man.
Cool. Well, this is Brandon saying, go Noles.
Go Gators.